Hello, this is Talk20 Raw and Real, and we are calling our episode today Restroom Edition.
Yes.
I named Raw and Real for a reason because we're going to get down and dirty literally today. And too bad Paula's not with us. She was going to be here, right up to the minute, but she got a call that her little doggie's ready from the doggy hospital, so that's absolutely most important.
Yes.
But we're going to talk digestion today. And we've got some products here. Mimi's going to talk, so we're going to take it over for Paula. But we're going to start with, and I'll talk, get it over with. But I have always had digestion problems. And it's because I think I showed that picture episode or two ago of how heavy I was. And it was digestion problems. I was eating box jars, Ziploc bag food and fast food and had all kinds of problems. So then I tried to search, kind of like we all do when we want to get a healthier lifestyle. And I actually took a course to become a vegetarian, but that didn't work out for me. And of course I don't judge. We all do what we want to do, but I like steak too much. Steak is my absolute favorite food. Nothing like having a big old steak the size of Texas. And I'm not embarrassed to say sometimes I ate it all. But that was the problem. Because when you eat a lot of meat, actually what I learned was it takes 24 to 48 hours when you eat, especially red meat because it's so much denser, to get from one end to the other. And when you start having stuff coming out that don't smell like roses, that ain't good because that's like putrefying and rotten up in there. So that's horrible, and when it sits in there and doesn't come out,
you're absorbing all of that rotten.
Oh my gosh, and that's a breeding ground for disease.
Yep.
So what I've learned, I can't eat that big old steak, darn it, anymore, but I learned that you want to eat meat about the size of your palm, because that's easier to digest. And so that's kind of what I've learned. I do moderation, and if I have, this is what works for me. If I have meat on one day, I won't have meat the next day. Kind of give my body time to, but do what it's got to do. Come on out, I guess. Whatever. I didn't know what I was going to say. Raw and real. There you go. I did learn, this was kind of cool, that your digestion actually starts in your mouth.
Salivary glands.
And I had no idea, because like I said, I just shovel it all in like, that was going to be my last meal or something.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that was kind of my little 2 cents on the digestion, but it's hugely important because constipation is not fun, if you know. And a lot of women, more than men it seems like, as a general, seem to have more constipation problems than men do.
It's an interesting subject.
It's interesting.
Yeah. There's a lot attached to it. So how are we absorbing vitamins? So when you eat an orange, and we all sort of associate oranges with vitamin C, when you eat that orange and it goes down into your stomach, how is the vitamin C coming out and getting into your bloodstream to help you? It's being absorbed through your intestines.
Right.
And how is it being absorbed through your intestines? It's being absorbed through your intestines if the correct enzymes were there to break down the food before it got further along in your digestive system in order to be absorbed. So we were all created with this body that knew how to do everything when we were born, and we were creating hundreds of different kinds of enzymes that do different things. And as we get older, the production of those enzymes in our own body starts to slow down, and the older you get, the more slowed down it is. And so you reach a point where you just need to put some back so that you can continue to eat things that not only you enjoy, but that further along your health goals. And so we have a line here in the store that is so helpful for that. It was developed by a doctor, and it's made by a top-notch company called Enzymatica, who has in-house doctors that produce these items. And again, there are hundreds of enzymes, so different enzymes do different work. There are enzymes that digest vegetables. There are enzymes that digest meat. There are enzymes that digest dairy, things like that. You know, so people who are lactose intolerant, they lack the enzyme to digest lactose.
I do have two questions for you though before we get started. If you are a vegetarian, do you have to have a digestive enzyme?
If you're over 28, 29 years old, yes.
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 You do, even if it's raw food, that's all you eat?
Especially if it's raw food.
Okay.
So,
and why is that?
your food cannot go into your lower digestive system and be utilized unless it's cooked. And so you have two options. You can either cook it before you eat it, or your stomach can cook it for you. And so how does your stomach cook it? Warmth, enzymes, and stomach acid.
Okay.
And you can do either or. It's just more work for your stomach.
Okay.
And so you should probably give it a little bit of a helping hand with some extra vegetable digesting enzymes. And we do have enzymes here in the store, and there are other enzymes on the market that are only for vegetables. To give somebody who is really trying to eat completely vegetarian, there are enzymes that are specifically directed toward that food group and really help out doing that.
Okay. And my next question, and then we can talk about this, but you know, we always hear as you get older that we should do enzymes. What about the sad American diet today? It's all processed and junk and fast food. Do you think that younger people should be starting with digestive enzyme too because of the...
No, I mean, so...
Or does that have anything to do with it?
So, processed food, you know, fast food or food that has a shelf life of a year, or things that are in the freezer in the grocery store. I mean, there's nothing in them anyway. You probably don't need any enzymes because there's nothing in them to break down. They're a negative food. There's nothing left. They have been radiated and processed and denatured to the extent that you probably don't need any. They're probably going to give you heartburn, and so we can maybe assist you with the heartburn part of it because they're not digestible. But there is no real food to apply the enzymes to in those types of things that you consume. I don't think you can't even call them food.
I thought of another question, sorry.
Okay.
Then I'll be quiet and I'll let you talk. A lot of times when, me for example, I did this. After I took the vegetarian course, when I started trying to do the vegetarian course, when I ate a lot of raw, oh my God, the pain was just like horrible.
Yeah, it was too much of a load on your stomach to cook it.
And I've heard other people say that, I can't eat a lot of vegetables because it hurts. So explain why.
I mean, again, your stomach has to cook it for you. And so that's a big job, especially if you're over 26, 27, 8 years old when your digestion is in its prime, it's probably going to cause some discomfort. Or, I mean, genetics has a lot to do with it. So if your genetics are strictly Eskimo genetics, it's probably going to be close to impossible for you to be vegetarian because in your DNA is not prepared to digest a lot of fresh vegetables because your genetics are living in an ice place with fish, and that's it. So yeah, genetics matters a lot. Where are your parents' genetics coming from? Are they coming from Northern Europe? Are they coming from Asia? Are they coming from, and in those areas, what is commonly grown and what is readily available there? I mean, so my family is Sicilian. Sicily's an island, so fish, you know, and they don't grow wheat on islands, so that's how I ended up someone not able to eat gluten. It's purely genetic. And
that's what I love about you, because I think it was the last episode that you talked about, and I was so impressed with that. I didn't even know that about you. We've known each other for a long time. That you have had experience with food all over the country. I'm like, wow. So
I've eaten too much all my life.
I think that's great. Anyway, all right. We probably don't have a whole lot of time, so let's get to like maybe the basics.
So let's divide it up into before, during, and after.
Okay.
So
I'm just gonna let you do it.
Before, during, and after. So this is probably a before. This is an Ayurvedic digestive formula made by Terry Naturally, an incredible company. And this would be something you would take daily to assist in your digestion, just to keep digestive health going. These are enzymes, and we've just talked about enzymes. And enzymes assist when you lack enough of the many enzymes that are required to digest whatever food you're eating, whatever mixture you're eating. If you ate a sandwich, you're consuming grains, you're consuming meat, you're consuming maybe some tomato and lettuce in there, so there's some vegetables, and maybe you had an ice cream cone and now there's dairy and there's sugar. And so all of those things that we just mentioned require different enzymes to break down. These are enzymes that really look at the difference in all of them is just the difference in what is the combination of foods you're eating. So if you're someone who doesn't eat a lot of meat, you're probably just going to need a regular, what we call regular digest. So what regular digest is about is a little bit of dairy sometimes, a little bit of fruit sometimes, a little bit of meat sometimes, just kind of a casual formula. Digest Gold is more for people who require, due to their genetics or due to their lifestyle or maybe their workout spectrum, they require more protein, so more chicken and more meat. And what this does, it has more protease in it to digest that additional protein and make it comfortable. Spectrum is more for someone who always eats a little bit of everything. It's a great formula for everything. Then there are also in the store specifics for certain kinds of food. Like this is glutenese. I use this a lot. This lives in my purse. I'm not supposed to eat gluten, but sometimes people will hear me say that gluten falls in my mouth. And so this is a really good product because it gives you the enzyme that you lack to digest gluten, so that it doesn't make the gluten good for you. It just makes it more comfortable to digest. While you eat it, you can take this, and maybe the day after you can take some more to try to clear out the remnants so that you don't have that brain fog and maybe some of the joint pain. And then after. So there's after. We ate a big meal, we got together with family, we went to a restaurant, we overdid it. We can do things like chewable ginger is great for that momentary discomfort, and also DGL is another great one. More specifics, if you wake up in the middle of the night with some heartburn, one of the best things that we have here in the store is the liquid aloe. That puts out that fire really quickly.
This stuff.
Really quickly. Yeah. Something that I keep all the time. And then this one here is Lipo Gold. So Lipo Gold is geared toward two different groups of people. So the first would be someone who has had their gallbladder removed, and your gallbladder is what produces the enzymes that allow you to digest fat. And so if you don't have a gallbladder, or if you have an impaired gallbladder, that's very helpful. It's also very helpful, most helpful to people who are using a keto eating plan in their lives, because there's a lot of fat. And so that is very good to take with meals if you're doing keto, to digest that fat so that you don't get any discomfort. The last thing we'll talk about is fiber. And so probably when you tried to eat all vegetables, you changed from no fiber to a lot of fiber.
Oh yeah.
And that was probably horrible. Uncomfortable.
It's horrible.
So fiber is important, but maybe too much fiber is
correct.
Something. So as you said, moderation.
That's right.
But this Ready Fiber is a liquid fiber that's here in the store that is so easy to take and so wonderful for digestion. And then finally, this lovely little mineral that we're all lacking is what helps us relax. It helps all of our muscles relax. And the truth of the matter is that your colon is a muscle. And so when you get tense, or you have a lot of impacted food from a few days ago and everything is stuck, magnesium will relax that muscle so that you don't have to struggle, and so that you can be regular every day. Magnesium comes from dirt. And so when we don't eat things that are grown in dirt and have absorbed magnesium from the dirt, we're going to be magnesium deficient. I think the last statistic I heard was something like 80% of all Americans are magnesium deficient. And so
I believe that.
I suffered from migraines, severe migraines, for about 15 years, and I always ended up in the emergency room getting shots of Demerol. And somebody once suggested to me about 5 years ago, take magnesium every evening. I also had a horrible constipation problem. Somebody suggested to me magnesium. I take this blend because if you start to take one single kind of any kind of magnesium, and there are many kinds, there are many forms, sometimes it can cause side effects. So it's better to get a blend. This is a blend of 5 different versions of magnesium. As soon as I started taking the magnesium, constipation problems were over, bathroom time was pleasant, and no more migraines.
And this is kind of not talking about digestion, but I've noticed like with my clients, they talk about leg cramps at night. They wake up.
That's what.
And I always tell people, try magnesium.
Yes.
Just try that first before you go to the doctor and get a pill and for something else. Just try magnesium, and I'll tell you what, more times than none, that'll take care of it.
Yeah, and it's because you're deficient, and most of us are.
That's right.
So there's nothing wrong with it.
Nope.
It's just replacing something that, it's because we're not growing our own vegetables in our own backyards anymore, so.
Darn it.
HEB is much easier.
Yeah.
Much easier.
I'd much rather do it myself, but living in an apartment, that'd be kind of hard. So.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
these are some things here in the store. Anybody here in the store can help you out with your specific situation. The girls are all so knowledgeable.
Absolutely. And I've said this before, you can come on in, say hi, talk to the staff. You can call us on the phone, we can deliver. If you're in the Bernie area, we do curbside service. We still do that?
Yes.
Curbside service, okay? Yeah, call us, don't be shy, write in. That's what we're here for, a community, and we want to help with whatever questions, and don't be embarrassed because we pretty much
Yeah, we just spilled it all anyway.
we just, yeah, that's right. We are not shy, and we're raw and real here. So whatever you got, let us know and talk to us. We want to thank you so much for tuning in, and we love you, and God bless you, and we'll see you next time.